A great way to experience the culture of any area is to check out the weddings. I got a chance to go to Parifai's wedding, which was a small, simple wedding. However, I was lucky that Kawanna's cousin Dandy was also getting married. This was a very fancy wedding and showcased many aspects of traditional Indonesian culture and dress. Kawanna was in charge of holding the umbrella for the couple as they walked in. There was a lot of traditional Indonesian food there. I met one guy who was a fan of native Deen there. He lived in America for a bit, found out about the group later.
When I was in middle school, and also once when it was Eid, they showed native Deen on Metro TV, so I just watched them and searched them online, and that's how I got to know.
Very cool. What's Metro TV like? Like a big? It's big?
Well, it's like Fox News, I guess.
Oh.
Or CNN or whatever, but for Indonesia.
Ah.
We went downstairs together to pray in the musalla. After training almost every day in Silat, either at Al-Azhar or Parifai, or reviewing the techniques we learned with Kawanna in Pamulang, I was excited to hear that Kak Jojo wanted us to meet Kak John, the current leader of Al-Azhar Pencak Silat, and the cousin of the founding master Kayon, who died about 10 years ago. Kayon taught people such as Kak Ehsan, who taught students like Kak Jojo. After Kayon passed away, the leadership was passed to Kak John.
Yeah, I know.
Although Kak John now focuses more on administrative aspects of the school and leaves the heavy training to Kak Jojo, you could still see he was excited about Pencak Silat and very happy to see the people from USA interested in Silat. He advised us to focus our teaching on the basics of Silat and make sure our stances are proper Silat stances. Kak Jojo took us again to learn more with Parifai at the IPSI headquarters. He showed us more advanced Silat techniques. With these techniques, you anticipate the reaction of your opponent. You have to think 2 or 3 steps ahead of your opponent. There were other Silat students there also who were training. Chimande Silat usually trains at night, probably due to the cooler weather and the fact that during the Dutch rule, Silat was outlawed. One thing I noticed that in traditional Silat, there's no real concept of the dojo or Silat school building. Silat is practiced in any place, wherever there's space. In all the training I did with the Silat masters, there were never any real mats. Silat has been traditionally taught informally like this, only to students who are dedicated and deemed worthy. Thanks to the efforts of IPSI, Silat has become much more formalized in recent history. The traditional method was the way that we trained for most of the part during my stay in Indonesia. Kak Jojo and Kak Awi came to the house in Pamulang and trained with us. We learned Ganda, which is a series of techniques done with a partner to form almost a skit. It helps your timing and fluidity from technique to technique. We also learned how to use traditional weapons like the celurit. And he showed us a breathing technique called gokang and how to use it without injuring yourself. Kak Jojo stressed that we keep practicing these techniques in the USA in order to master them. Once we understood the concepts of the techniques, it was up to us to practice them regularly. During my time in Indonesia, I got a chance to eat a wide variety of food. I really enjoyed Indonesian food. especially certain dishes like martabak. And I had a wide variety of local fruits, from small citrus-tasting duku, rambutan, lychee, durian, jackfruit, local bananas, guava, salak, and my favorite, mangisa. Mangisa has a very sweet taste and texture. Kak Jojo wanted to give us the most extensive training possible during this trip. He informed us that he had plans to take us to visit and train with the oldest living Grandmaster of Al-Azhar Pencak Silat, Kak Ismail. At 73 years old, he currently lives in Situbondo, which is on the east side of Java, which would be a 30-hour drive from Jakarta. In our previous visit to Kak Jojo asked permission from him to allow us to train with the Grandmaster. Out of close to 100 instructors in Jakarta, only a handful have ever had the privilege of training with him. Kak John agreed that we were ready and gave Kak Jojo the permission for us to travel. Kak Jojo brought his entire family on the trip. His wife has family in Situbondo and he wanted her to visit them while we trained. We rented a van for about $50 a day, which included the driver, and set off on our journey. We drove for hours and took rest to eat and pray. Every gas station had a nice little prayer area for those who wished to pray. And I'm sure people needed to pray considering the way people drove. The driver was weaving through traffic and passing people on the incoming traffic lane. We actually got into an accident when there was a stopped car on the road and the driver was unable to brake fast enough. The next morning, he found a shop and somehow fixed the bumper. We visited the first major mosque built in Indonesia. It was a unique structure with an interesting additional feature that I had never seen before in a mosque.
So this one right here is a drum,
Yeah.
and they hit it right before the azan, right?
Yeah.
Right before the azan, and tak 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 tak. Very cool.
We also visited a village that was completely flooded due to drilling being done nearby. The entire village was lost, and they built a barricade to protect the surrounding villages. After a long 30-hour journey, we arrived in Situbondo at night.
And we are in Situbondo, and it was about a 24-hour trip, and we had fun. Bagus?
Yeah.
Smell good? Say hello to my daughter, Sakina.
Halo Sakina gitu.
Sakina.
Saya Andaru. Ngomong dong, saya Andaru. Saya jalan-jalan.
Saya jalan-jalan dengan bapaknya Sakina.
We stayed at Kak Jojo's relative's house. For Situbondo standards, it was one of the nicest places around.
Yeah?
Favorite from Situbondo.
Ah, okay.
The next day, we went to visit Kak Ismail.
Duduk. Ini di Cina itu, Pak. Ini dari Saudi.